Hello there and welcome back to another gluten-free, lactose-free and yeast-free baking video. How are we doing today? Today I'm going to be making some gluten-free, lactose-free and yeast-free Tanya Burr chocolate and cinnamon cookies. These are of course going to be gluten-free, lactose-free and yeast-free. You will be needing the following equipment: some scales, some measuring spoons, 2 baking trays or cookie sheets, some baking paper and some spray oil, a mixing bowl, a wooden spoon or electric hand whisk, a spatula, and finally a cooling rack. You will also be needing the following ingredients: 100 grams of butter softened, I like to use lactose-free butter, 150 grams of caster sugar, half a medium-sized egg beaten, I will show you how to do this in just 1 second, 138 grams of gluten-free self-raising flour, 15 grams of cocoa powder, and finally 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. So let's go! So to half our egg, what we're going to do is place our empty bowl into our scales and turn our scales on, setting them to 0, which mine now are. Place all of this egg into our new bowl. Come on, lovely. So 51, that's not helpful because it's not an even number. So half of 50 is 25, half of 1 is 0.5. So we're going to do 25 or 26 grams for it. So we're going to take this bowl out and add our bowl that originally had our egg into our scales and set that to 0. And now we are basically going to pour 25 or 26 grams of this egg into this bowl. 25, bang on the money. Right, so now that that is done, we're going to place it off to the side until we're ready to use it. First things first, measure out and prepare all of your ingredients so that they're completely ready for you to use, and then preheat your oven to 200 degrees C on a conventional oven, 180 degrees C on a fan oven, or gas mark 6. So now that that is all done, it is now time to prepare our baking trays or cookie sheets. So for this we will be needing our baking trays or cookie sheets, our baking paper and our spray oil. So for this part we are going to grab our baking paper and measure by eye the size of our baking tray or cookie sheet. So that's about the size of mine. Tear this off. You can either use scissors or you can just tear it off like I'm about to. And now I'm going to grab my spray oil, give this a quick spritz, because I found that doing this will help the baking paper to stick down while I get on with the baking. Place that on top, and there you go, Bob's your uncle. So repeat this with the other cookie sheet or baking tray, and then place these off to the side until we're ready to bake. So now that we've done all that nasty prep work, it is now time to begin actually making our cookies. So for this we will be needing our wooden spoon or electric hand whisk, our mixing bowl, our spatula, and all of our ingredients. So to start with, we are going to place our butter into our mixing bowl. Followed by our caster sugar. And now we're going to mix these together until they are light and fluffy. And now we're going to add our egg. And then we're going to mix this lot together until well combined. So now we're going to add all of our flour. All of our cocoa powder, and finally all of our cinnamon. So now I'm going to mix this lot together until it is well combined. Just before it's finished mixing, I'm then going to scrape round the sides of the bowl so we lose as little as possible. But you're going to see me do it, so why I'm telling you I don't know, but let's just get on with it. I'll stop rambling now. So that's really close to being done, so I'm just going to scrape around the sides of my bowl so we lose as little as possible to the washing up. And now I'm going to fully finish mixing it. So the next thing we have to do is place these onto our prepared cookie sheets or baking trays. So for this we are going to be needing our prepared cookie sheets or baking trays and our tablespoons. So the first thing I'm going to do before I move my cookie mixture onto my cookie sheets or baking trays is actually just scrape round the sides of my mixing bowl. Sorry, I forgot what I was saying there. And now using my 2 tablespoons, I'm going to grab a spoonful of my mixture and place that onto my cookie sheet. I am placing it, I get confused how to word this, in enough that it won't go over the edge of the cookie sheet or baking tray. Sorry, before I did this I had a massive coughing fit, so if I sound odd, forgive me. But I want them spaced far enough apart because they do spread out when they bake. So you want them in enough that they won't go over the side of your cookie sheet, but far enough away that they won't touch each other. This amount of mixture should make about 5, but depending on the size of your tablespoons and other factors, it could be making 6. So just go with it and see how many you make. I mean, these are going to be big cookies, so you know, it's up to you how big or small you want them to be. And then I'm just going to scrape around this again so I don't lose any of it, or as little of it, should I say. And then which one do I want to add this to? I'm going to add this to this one. And then some of them are clearly bigger than others, so I'm just going to try and even them out. But, you know, unless you measure it out and then separate it however many times you want to make, it's just gonna not work for you. So, you know, just go with it. It's one of the reasons I like baking, is you just go with it and see what happens sometimes. There we go. And now that's done, I'm just going to flatten them slightly and round them off a bit. Okay, so they're about even. So now we're going to place these into our preheated oven for exactly 11 minutes. After that time, we're going to take them out of the oven, leaving them on their baking tray or cookie sheet and placing them onto a cooling rack to cool for 10 minutes. After those 10 minutes are up, we are then going to very, very carefully place our cookies onto the cooling rack, taking them off of their baking tray or cookie sheet, and then leaving them to cool for another 20 minutes. Just so you know, when you first take them out of the oven, they will not look cooked, but don't place them back in. That is the whole science of it, because when they cool down, they become nice and chewy. And that is it. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out the description below, as I love everything in it, including the recipe to these lovely cookies and the links to all the flour and equipment you will need for this recipe. If you do make this at home, don't forget to tag me on Instagram and use the hashtag bakingwithvickiie so that I can see all your lovely creations. Let me know in the comments below of anything else you'd like to see me make, gluten, lactose or yeast free, as I do them all. And finally, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you next time. Bye!